Here's a super simple rule of thumb in terms of whether or not to decide to take profits into strength or to hold for pullbacks or whatever. So obviously this depends on your time frame of how long you want to hold this trade for. If you think that you should be a little bit more nimble and quick, you want to take profits into strength. If you're holding something a little longer term, you got a long runway on it, you got a lot of time on your options, cool. But it's good to just generally know what your stocks are doing between this and the 8 EMA. The 8 EMA generally is the dividing line between your stock needing a longer term pullback consolidation and return, or whether or not you're still trending. Generally, some people use the 15 EMA, some people use the 8 EMA, depending on your time frame. Most people are going to use the 8 EMA. So if you look at anything above the 8 EMA, that's where you're going to be able to see what the stock is doing and what its probability of continuation is versus its probability of kind of the trending being maybe fizzling out or being kind of over. Between the 8 EMA and these major levels above here, maybe your big D1 targets, etc., there's going to be a whole bunch of other little minor levels. And they are three different things. They're retests of breakouts or algo line breaks. They are horizontal levels of high volume D1 candles. So this is all high volume here. If you look, whoop, that's all high volume. So you've got your highs and lows of those really high volume D1 candles. Those are also levels that it'll revisit. And then you've got the anchored volume weighted average prices of the days preceding it. Obviously this one here is kind of done. Like it's below the 8 EMA, so I don't really care about it. So we'll delete that one. And what you're looking for is just like a sequential sort of rip, pull back, retest, rip, pull back, retest. But you want it to work those levels like a staircase. And every time it just rips all the way through one, expect it to go back and retouch it again. Now, by the time it comes back to retouch it again, that 8 EMA might have already pulled up through. So you have to keep that in mind. But if you see something, let's say on a micro scale here, let's say you really want to get out ASAP. If you see something where it just rips through VWAP and just hangs out up there, the likelihood of it continuing further, unless it's doing some sort of weird, crazy Momo climax, is very slim. It's got to go back and it's got to go get that. Sometimes it'll get that tomorrow. Sometimes it'll wait a long time. But as you see, it always goes back and rechecks those anchored VWAPs. That's what these institutions are using to get the best price as they fill their orders across days, weeks, months, etc. So every time you see these levels get checked, you can use these retests or lack of retests to update your personal probability on whether or not it's a good idea to take profits or not. You're going to use your discretion, obviously, but sometimes it's a good idea to go, hey, I got a level down here. Let's say maybe this one never got retested. I know it's going to pull back to there. No big deal. I can maybe put a stop under there, something like that. Or maybe I'm cool to wait for it to go back there because I got a big runway. Or let's say, you know what? I only got like a day left on this thing. Maybe there's earnings tomorrow or something. It's ripping. I'm going to take profits into it because I know it's going to have to go back there. And I don't know if it's going to travel that whole thing, navigate it all, come back up in that time frame. Hopefully that's like a key tip to tell. But basically anything between the 8 EMA and your big D1 target, use those levels to see intraday how it's stair-stepping between them. And that's why a lot of times people say, you know what, the intraday is just noise. But it really isn't. It's the interplay between these levels and the bid checks and the retests, etc.